Okay, so update since the neurologist appointment that we had on Thursday. Today is Tuesday. We had like a real long weekend. As far as that goes, we had, well, back all the way up. Wednesday at church, I noticed that Greg's elbow was like swollen, and a little bit of a rash on like the outside of his arm. And so then the next morning when we wake up, his elbow was really big and like it almost feels like has fluid in it. So took him to the ER on the day that he had to go to the neurologist. So we go to the ER or urgent care in our town. We get over there and they x-ray it. Nothing's broken, thank God, because he told me he doesn't know if he fell. And I'm like, okay, great, we don't know. And it's always hard because I swear, like, I know that they have charts and they understand. They might not understand Huntington's completely, but they understand, like, that, like, I'm not just like abusing him, probably, that there is a chance he doesn't remember. But like when he gets in there and says, I have no idea what happened to me, but like he has this big swollen whatever, and like a month ago he had the shoulder injury that was like, oh, at some point you have fallen down and don't remember this. It stresses me out because I feel like, okay, they think I am abusing him, but obviously I'm not. So they didn't see anything broken, anything really wrong there. So they decided that we would need to follow up with a orthopedic doctor. We take him this Friday, so in like 3 days, to Rome to a orthopedic doctor. So we're going to do that. But then the neurologist appointment was later on that day. So we get down there. Everything was uneventful. Greg was obviously pretty tired because he had gotten up and went to the other doctor's appointment that day, and that's just a lot for him. It's more than he usually does in like a week, so it was a lot. But anyway, so he gets down there, everything's good. We talk about a lot of things. The main focus ended up being, not necessarily intentionally, about his just how subdued he is really on his risperidone and things like that. And like we did talk about that the last time that he was there, he was driving a car still. He was still dealing with a lot of agitation. But like he was full on conversation. He was helping at the food pantry. Like he was doing a lot of things that like, that seems like a whole nother person. And that was like right at a year ago or something. A whole different person. Like somebody who could go and volunteer 3 days a week at a food pantry and drive himself and pick up the kids from school, compared to somebody who like, I have to put his medicine in his mouth, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, it's a huge difference. Which is, it's fine, but you can't really determine if this is 100% the symptoms of the disease, just progression, or if there's a chance that maybe this is also like, not over medicated, because he needed it when we gave it to him, but like maybe we can back down some, because he takes that and he also takes a very strong, like maxed out on an antidepressant, which will make you tired and subdued and kind of not care or whatever, not feel the emotions and the things. And then he also takes something that's for anxiety to help him sleep, that also will work a little bit like an antidepressant, they explained to me. And he's taking that at bedtime. He's taking all of those things at bedtime. So he's usually tired when he wakes up, and he has a hard time getting up. I explained that he's sleeping from like 9 p.m. to like 9, 10, 11 o'clock the next day. I'm not there to make sure he gets up. So if I'm not there, he's probably going to sleep till like 10 o'clock at least. So, you know, you're looking at 12, 15 hours sometimes. And then still says he feels tired. So they decided that we would back down on the risperidone. Risperidone is a drug that they use to treat Huntington's, that treats his motions, where his movements, but it also treats some of the outbursts and things like that. So that being said, when we back down off of this, he may get more jittery, may get some more motions than what he has now. And if that's the case, that's fine, as long as it's not something that, like, affects his ability to, like, get around more than it already does. Because right now, honestly, he doesn't have a lot of motions. He does have, like, every once in a while he'll do his head a little bit, like, he kind of, but, like, not repetitively to the point where it's, like, every few seconds or anything like that. And then he, when he's holding his phone, he'll sit and do his thumb like this. And, like, even if he's not, I think because he's used to scrolling, honestly, I think it's a repetitive thing. And then when you take the phone out of his hand and you're just holding his hand, I can feel his thumb trying to twitch that way. But it's not, I mean, I've seen Huntington's, even before, he would, like, wiggle his feet a lot. Like, he would, like, have to adjust how I'm sitting. And he would, he just couldn't be still. It was almost like he had restless leg or something, but, like, we knew it wasn't that. We knew what he had. His mama was that way too. She would kind of kick her feet a lot. But, like, his feet stay very, very still on the dosage that he's on. So we may get some motions back. And if we do, you know, we'll just have to decide, weigh those against the other symptoms and decide what we need to do there. But coming off the risperidone, ideally, is going to give him a little bit more. He's not going to be as tired, hopefully. Hopefully he's not going to, like, he'll be able to communicate a little bit more, because he's going to get, like, where he is so kind of suppressed as far as, like, the outburst goes. It's almost suppressed him where he, like, doesn't even care. He's just, like, his give a crap is, like, busted, kind of. He's sweet, but, like, you can tell he's just there. He's just in the room. He's just along for the ride. And, like, in my mind, if we can experience some joy, like, and he can still feel that, even if it can't be expressed, like, I want him to have that. I don't want him just to be meh for the rest of his days. I mean, we've already kind of been doing this for a while, and there was reason for it. He was wilding out when we were trying to get him to stop driving and stuff. Like, he was wilding out, and it was not okay. So, the level, like, there was a jump from 2 milligrams to 3 milligrams with risperidone, and, like, it was just such a blessing that he kind of stopped wilding out on us, that, like, I don't know if I noticed it instantly or if it was over a couple weeks or a couple months. If it was, like, an onset of symptoms, like, it's very hard for me to tell. And that's what I was talking to the neurologist about, and they understood. But, like, even by looking at his cognitive testing and things like that, you can't tell for sure what's what. Obviously, there's going to be some disease progression since the last year. Even if we went back down to 2 milligrams, it wouldn't be the same. He wouldn't be the same person. He wouldn't get those things back. But also, like, could we have a little more emotion for him to have a little bit more connection with myself and the kids and the people around him? But it was put to me very, very plainly that he was aggressive before, not physically, but emotionally, to the point where he would get upset. He would kind of be aggravated a lot, and then he would say things that were just hurtful, and he knew that they were, I think. I don't think Greg ever has meant to hurt me. But to say, well, you would be better off if I just choked, or I wish I would have just not made it out of that wreck. Those are things that are, like, they terrify me. They terrify me because we've dealt with some suicidal thoughts in some of our children, and we've had to deal with that, and that's terrifying. It's terrifying to know that, like, you can't get into somebody's brain to let them know that they matter enough that there's no way that that's ever should be on their radar. And I know that he has an aunt that she made quite a few attempts before they had to put her in a full-time care situation. So I don't know for sure if that are real thoughts or that's just a fleeting thing. Like, I don't know if that's a thought that stays in his brain to say, ooh, the sun, to say, hey, I really would do something to myself. Or if it's more along the lines of, hey, I'm saying this because, like, in this moment, I'm really upset. And it's something that I know is going to get you to the level of upset that I'm upset. Because I need that. I don't know. So he was never physically aggressive, but he was very frustrated. And we had to kind of walk on eggshells. Well, now, I mean, we could do a lot of things, and he's just, like, doesn't say or do anything. So it's like one extreme to the other. Obviously, we want to be right in the middle. But what they had warned me on was that the emotions that we want to get back, the joy, the, like, him just wanting to enjoy things and to feel happiness and to, I mean, hopefully he can communicate a little bit better if he's not as subdued. Like, I don't know, you know? It also is going to allow whatever emotions to come through, and it may very well be the ones that we were trying to subdue before, because it was hard on myself and it was hard on the kids and all the things. So, like, I'm sitting in the car, y'all, because I'm but so, like, I can't necessarily pick, you can't pick, oh, well, keep those at bay, but, like, can we get some peace and joy and happiness and rainbows and butterflies, because it's not real life. So we will see. He started that new regiment, which is just 5 milligrams different, new regiment, Sunday night. So he's had it Sunday night and Monday night. They said it would take at least 2 weeks before I would notice a difference. So, like, I think I'm, like, kind of on eggshells. Like, how do you feel? Are you okay? Like, trying to pay attention. Is he talking to me more? Is he responding differently or responding more frequently, with more words, or whatever? Does he seem, I don't know. So, like, I feel like I'm literally psychoanalyzing, like, every move he makes over the next few days. I'm sure I'll continue to do that for the next 2 weeks to see where we are. Obviously, we're just praying for a breakthrough with this. I know in my heart, and the doctors are great, but they are very real, so they say things sometimes that I'm like, I knew that, you didn't have to say that to me. But, like, reminded me that, like, if he does seem better, it's 150% not that he's better. It's that we kind of had him over-medicated. It's not like a healing. Like, we're not getting better, per se. Like, we are just, we were over-medicated, and we just counteracted that. But, like, the progression is still happening. Like, nothing was healed, and I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. But I mean, if it feels like success, like, there's only so many victories within this. So if we can have a victory, it was a victory whenever he was wilding out, and we got him subdued to this point where we could live our lives and not cry every day. So, like, let's be real, that was a victory. But now, if that we're a little more, the kids are a little bit older, they understand more. We kind of have seen both sides of it. Like, now, maybe, I don't know, maybe success in this moment is just a little bit of interaction from him, is all we get out of this. But that'd be huge to me. That would be huge to me if he could interact and have some feelings. Obviously, we want them to only be the good ones, but I mean, if there's bad and there's frustration, we just have to watch him. And, like, we already live a life where we manage him. We can manage the things that affect his emotions. It's fair to say that that's okay to do, I think. That's hard when you have a teenage daughter, to say, hey, this is going to upset your dad. You need to not say this like this. You need to not wear this. You need not do this. Like, you know, because he would be probably more upset and not handle things as well as maybe a normal dad. When I mentioned to her, or she was overhearing me tell my best friend, you know, kind of where we were and what we were doing, she says, so does that mean he's going to be mean again? And, like, that broke my heart. But then I had to explain to her when we were in the car on the way home from theirs, you know what, I don't know what it means. But we're going to try it, because if it means that he can have a little bit of joy, that he actually feels, then we can deal with the negative side of that, as long as it's not 90% that and only, like, 10% positive. But, like, And even then, I don't know that we can't deal with it. I don't know. I told her that quality of life for him, because we know that every hair in your head is numbered. Everybody knows that we all have an expiration date, but it's apparently obvious that his is going to be before ours, unless there's a tragedy. So if we can make his days happier, where he feels those things, it's not really anything we're changing, but if he can feel that peace and that happiness and joy about the little things in life and the big things, because we try really hard to do big things and experience and make memories. Like, if he can be in the moment with us for just a little bit on those things, I think that it's worth it. So that's our prayer right now. I just have to call right now when I get into my office and set up an appointment for 4 months. They did change our neurology appointments instead of once a year, which there's a couple of times we've seen each other once every 6 months, but it was once a year was mandatory. The other things were because medications were changing. We've went to quarterly appointments. So they want him physically in person at Emory, which is about an hour from my house, hour and a half, 4 times a year. But I honestly think that will help us manage things better. So we'll just have to figure out what that looks like, and I'll have to work that out. I mean, it's a priority, so it has to be worked out, and we'll work it out. So, takeaway is orthopedic doctor on Friday, to kind of see what's going on. There's a possibility that they may have to drain that or do something with it. Hopefully they'll have some insight about why it did that. A lot of things I look up say it could be a bump or a bruise. The urgent care doctor was like, well, it's overuse. Well, baby, he ain't overusing nothing, because he doesn't get off the couch. He doesn't really move. So maybe when it's the orthopedic doctor and I can explain that a little bit more in detail, he'll understand and kind of have some insight of, oh, if it's repetitive, just bumping, if I need to do something differently within the house, or like, I don't know, like, I don't know. Maybe we'll get some insight on that, though, to how to protect him better when it comes to those things. And then we're just 2 days into 14 days of getting to a place of having the medicine and that affects these chemicals in his brain to kind of pan out to a lesser dosage, to see if that's something that was helpful to him or not. The next step after that, obviously, like I said, 2 weeks, I'm supposed to let them know something, and then in 4 months we go back. In 4 months, there is a chance that if we were successful in this, that they would also take mirtazapine down a little bit, which is the medicine he takes at bedtime that's also for anxiety. I don't even remember the dosage on that, but they said it could also make him feel very subdued and tired. So maybe we get to take that down slightly as well. So we'll just have to see. There's a lot of different drugs that can be used. They could take him off of the risperidone altogether and give him something just for the motions that don't help with the outbursts. But that, I don't think that would be for us, because we went on this medicine originally not for the movements, but for the outburst. So, but I don't know. So we'll see. So that's where we are. That's the takeaway from the appointments we had been waiting so long to get to. We'll have more appointments on Friday, and then we'll kind of just see. I will touch back when or if we notice any differences with this medication. So we will see. We live to fight another day, I guess. All right. Talk to you later.